Hello, welcome to the presentation of our tools, IDEA tools. That is a part of the European Union Curium project. So our tools mainly focus on doing the initial assessment whether you are in the scope of Cyber Resilience Act. Okay. So when you start the tools, you need to choose your specific product. In my case, as for example, I choose the camera for this down station. So once you choose the camera, then you need to assign the cyber resilience assessment. So once you come here, then you need to choose the EU cyber resilience assessment questionnaires. Okay. Once you select it, then you see that the questions are already assigned to you. So if you go now, then select the answer, then you see the list of questions are sequentially coming. So this is the wizard-based questions. So that will ask you a number of ways to understand that whether you or your product is within the scope of the Cyber Resilience Act. So that means that it gives you an overview that, for example, in case of Resilience Act, we need to look at the product with digital elements. So what do you mean by the product with digital? You can get an overview from there. Then you start with that how the best way to describe your organization. For example, if you are an end user, if you select it, then you see that you cannot continue here. Why? Because you are out of the scope for the cyber resilience assessment. But rather than the end user, if you say that yes, I am the distributor of any digital or any product with digital element, if you select it, then sequentially the next questions are come. Okay, the following three questions are focused on understanding that what type of product you are distributing. Okay, so for example, if you are distributing some product that relates with the specific medical devices, or that relates to the vehicle, so that means that in this case you are out of scope. So that's why the following questions will specify that whether you are scope now within the CRA or not. Okay, so that means the next questions come. If I choose the distributor, then does your organization manufacturing product should act as an authorized representative? So if you say yes, then if you say that yes, act as authorized representative on behalf of the product of medical devices. So remember, if your product belongs to the medical device product, then you are not within the scope of CRA, because for the medical device there are other regulations like this. So if you say yes, you see you are gone, so you cannot do. Okay, so you give a response of for the demonstration I make it no, then it comes that yes, no, and then it comes that whether your product is relates with any producing motor vehicles. So if you say here yes, then again the same scenario comes, that means you're out of scope. So I say no here again, so it comes back again. So for example, product distributed of the any product, no. So this way you need to continue. Like if your product is again the military purpose product, then you are again out of scope. So I say no in here. Then software as a service, I say no. So that means that you are, once you press all this button no, so that means that now you are within the scope of CRA. Okay. So, but if you any of these questions you click yes, that means that you are out of scope of CRA. In that case, you should be complying with the specific sector specific regulations. Okay, so here is the some overview we give our tools, that what article 12 says, or article 10 says, that you can look from here. Now the next step is to understanding that we are now sure that that our product is within the scope of CRA. Now what type of product we have? Okay, the next questions will come. So you see basically they discuss in at least the 23 categories of product. So you need to if you choose any of them, let's say I choose the network traffic monitoring system, then if you go there, then there is a certain level of things come to advise you what you need to do. That means that you are a class 1 product. So in case of class 1 product, you need to what you need to consider. For example, you need to do the self-assessment testing. What you do, let's say I want to do the self-testing, then you press ASL. Then if you go down, then I have performed risk assessment, you see. So what type of risk assessment you perform, so that it comes, though you say yes internally. So yes, by internal tools. So yes, so if you say yes all there, and if you say yes, I'm fairly confident, submit. So that's it. So that means that this will give you a complete understanding, the initial understanding about the scoping of your product, and about saying that what type of risk assessment is essential for you, which product category you are belongs to under CRA, all this initial judgment would be necessary to understand. So I hope our Cyria tools is very effective for the users who have limited knowledge about the Cyber Resilience Act but would like to get a compliance from the act. So if you continue to use our product, then you will find that how beneficial you are to understanding the overview of the things. Thank you for listening. Bye. Hello, welcome to our presentation about our tools, digital product risk management. So these tools we have uh, used for the EU-funded Curium project. So the purpose of this DPRA is to provide an evidence-driven systematic risk management approach that allow you to identify your threats, vulnerabilities related to the risks for the product with digital element so that effective course of actions could be identified to mitigate the risk. So our tools are aligned with the number of key security standard, for example, NIST 853 as well as ISO 15408. So that means that several features of the tools are linked with these two standard. Okay. Now, in terms of the key feature, we have the asset inventory and we have the threat intelligence at open repository. Then finally, the ICT product management, where you can understand that how product specific product risks will be assessed. Now, I'm going to show you our tools. So this is the tools we have. So if you once you log in the tools, you can see the initial dashboard where we have a number of assets. So in here, you can add the number of assets that is relevant for your context. As for example, for now demonstration, I have added the number of assets in here. If you click the button add asset, you can see you can add any asset that is linked, and you can link it with the common platform enumeration, as well as if you have any SBOM file, you can also upload it on there. Okay, so once we added all the relevant asset for your context, then next stage is for you to understand that what could be the threats and vulnerability for your assets. So that's why the next step for you is understanding the vulnerability. So if you look at that, we have already a list of vulnerabilities that could be linked with the asset that you have identified. And please note that this information is collected in real time so that any vulnerabilities that has highly exploitable score or any vulnerability that has recently discovered or impact score is high, we have already incorporated in our dashboard. Finally, based on the vulnerabilities, then you can come up with the list of threats, that what could be the threats that is relevant with the asset that you have identified. All right. So we have the assets that we have, and we can add a new asset from here. Then the vulnerability and threats will be linked. Once you have all this information, then we go to link the product. As we say that the main focus is to let it to formulate the product with the digital elements. So you see that we have a number of product listed in here as for examples. For example, you can choose, let's say your product is a camera. So in here, if you have a camera, that means that this digital product is linked with a number of assets. So in here, you can assign the assets, you can add a asset. So that means that in our camera we have a CCTV, or maybe you can also add a number of other asset that is relevant to the camera. Once you have the asset, then you need to define the number of security executive. As I said, that this is our tools is directly linked with the common criteria security standard. So that means that you can link or you can add any security objectives that you want to align with your product. As well as if you say that no, I want to link with some requirement, same way you can link the number of requirement for the camera. Like from here, if you go, then you can see the camera and everything's for here. Okay, once you have all the things like assets, vulnerability, threats, and product, then you can look at your protection profile, that what is the protection profile for the CCTV camera, and what is the claim you have made for the conformity assessment. As for instance, for this example, we said that the common criteria assurance level is 3. Then we say that the vulnerability level is 2. Then we see that what is the attack potential and the assurance level. So all this information is taken into considerations to assess your product with digital elements. So this is our tools that we have developed as a part of the product that belongs to the DPRA, or digital product risk management. Thank you all for joining our session. Hope to see you soon. Bye.
The Digital Product Maturity Assessment (DPMA) tool is designed to support organizations, particularly SMEs, micro-enterprises, startups, product managers, and technical leads, in navigating the expanding and increasingly complex landscape of cybersecurity requirements for products with digital elements. As regulatory expectations evolve, notably with the introduction of the Cyber Resilience Act, CRA, and the widespread adoption of international cybersecurity standards such as ISO 27001, ISO 27002, NIST, and CIS controls, many organizations struggle to understand which measures apply to their needs and how these should be prioritized. Let's see an example of the DPMA tool. An organization is trying to identify risk treatment options related to logging. Which are the options regarding logging available to them? Which is the level of security afforded by each option? Here you can see the controls that are related to logging. Also, here you can see the maturity level for these specific controls.
Hello, in this video I will show you the use of conformity assessment compliance tool within the Curium set of tools. So once you have logged in the Curium portal, by clicking on the link of CAC application, you are transferred to the link of the page of the application. So immediately what you get is the ability to insert the information about your products that you need conformity and compliance check. So what we'll do, we will enter the product information, description, decide on the type of the product, and our role in the distribution of this product. So we'll be importer. Okay, batch information, serial number of the product, and relevant registration. Okay, once we have entered the information on product, we move to the page of the assessment questionnaire, where we get the series of questions that we need to answer truthfully yes or no. So, phone number, address. After questionnaire, what we need to do is upload any relevant technical documentation and XML files related to our product. Once the product is finished, the documentation is sent to analysis. Because the analysis takes time, what we can do in the meantime, we can also add some product images of our products. So yeah, add to them. And this allows us, after upload, we can actually see the images that are being uploaded. Also, we see that the validation of documents started, and we can also add information on the account information about the responsible person regarding our product. We restart the evaluation, and now we have passed. So we have passed the assessment, we have passed the recommendation, we have passed the documentation. This allows us, that means that we have supplied all the necessary information regarding our product with digital elements, and now we can issue ourselves a EU declaration of conformity by pressing the button. And by the declaration of conformity, we get our logo, our product information, and pictures that we also uploaded, the information of the product, and signature of the responsible user. And with this, we finished our presentation of the CAC tool in Curium portal, in Curium project.